Alright guys, here's what we are going to do in this video. We are going to learn the After Effects, but this video tutorial series is completely different. We are going to take a different approach to learn After Effects. The first thing is you need to understand the fundamental concept. If you know, the After Effects is a pretty complex software. You can do pretty advanced things using Adobe After Effects. Not only motion graphics, visual effects, and so many things, kinetic, typography, video. So if you hang around this software, you can see there are so many buttons, so many commands, so many dialog box, and you can see there are so many effects and presets. So that's the power of Adobe After Effects, and that's why you should have a very good understanding about the fundamentals. Because if you don't know the fundamentals and if you just jump into do pretty cool things and creating Game of Thrones titles and stuff like that, you are not going to be a really I don't think you will have a great future. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to take every single panel inside Adobe After Effects. You can see that there are so many panels. We call this project panel. So when you click on a panel, it highlights with a blue border, and you can see there are effect control panel. This is the timeline panel, and you can see the paragraph panel and the preview panel, effect and presets panel. There are so many things. You can see all the panels in Adobe After Effects using window, and you can identify all the panels. Of course, some of these panels may not be available to you because I have installed some third-party plugins like Animation Composer. So those are additional things that you can use to increase the productivity of After Effects workflows. So take time to learn the fundamentals. That way you can become a really good and original creator, and you can become an expert. So if you have really good Adobe After Effects skill, you have a really good value. You can earn a lot of money, like $50 per hour. You can start from that price and you can go higher. So only the main thing is you should have a really good After Effects portfolio to back you up. So let's get started. In this video, we are going to take a look at the character panel, and we take this panel and we go every single details of this panel, and I'm going to explain every single detail. So by the end of this video, you may not have any doubt about this icon or button or any value. So you know how to use the character panel, and you can forget it for the rest of your life. You don't have to spend any other time to learn this. So let's jump in. So by the way, if you don't know, if you cannot see the character panel in your software, you can turn on the visibility of this by going to window and go to the character, right? So you can use the keyboard shortcut. So if panel is currently visible, you can see this check mark, right? So if it is not, it is like this, right? So you can also use the Ctrl+6 keyboard shortcut to turn on and off character panel. You can close this panel by clicking on this menu, and you can see option called close panel. So if you want to reopen, go to window and go to the character, or you can use the keyboard shortcut. That's how you open the character panel. So the next one is sometimes you need to go to full screen. This is a really useful keyboard shortcut. It's the tilde key on your keyboard. By pressing tilde key, you can bring the active window to the full screen like this. You can make any panel full screen. So if you want to take the project panel full screen, you can use the tilde key, right? So that's the way you do it. So let's create a new composition and start typing text. So I'm going to right click here and new composition, and you can set a name like here, test type like this. You can change the duration, and you can use this preset. You can see in a video I'm going to explain these things very detailed, and I'm going to explain every single detail, but for now just follow this, right? Okay, click OK. Now we created the new composition, right? So now we are going to type text inside Adobe After Effects. So if you want to get this to fit to a screen, you can use this and fit up to 100% like this, right? So you can also use the tilde key to go to full screen the preview window. Now when it comes to text, we have to use the text tool. The text tool is in the toolbar. We call this the After Effects toolbar. You can see there are many tools, and when you press and hold the keyboard, your mouse, you can see some additional tools popping up, right? So we have in the type tool, we have horizontal type tool and the vertical type tool. In this case, we need to type horizontally, so we use the horizontal type tool. So we take this, and also you can use the keyboard shortcut Control T. I highly encourage you to get familiar with the keyboard shortcuts, especially in After Effects, because if you use this standard methods, it take many time if you are working on a big project. So speed is really matters when you are working on Adobe After Effects. So I'm click here, and you can see the text insertion point here, and now you can start typing. So let's say this is first text. So here you noticed two things. The first thing is when you type text, the things going out of the screen, and you can see some predefined preset has been applied to this text. That because After Effects remember the text parameters that you change in this character panel, right? So for example, now we have currently set the fill color to red, and the outline, we have set outline color to white, and we can see we have set font size to like this, and we can change the font family to Helvetica. In order to get reset these things, we can right click here, and we can set what's that, reset, right? Reset character. So it will change the character panel to its default values. So the default font is Times New Roman, and the font size is 36, like these things, right? So these are the default things. So you can start from here. So the next thing is why the text went out of the screen. That's because we have set the paragraph alignment to center. In order to fix that, we need to start with left align text, right? So when you make the left align, and I'm going to delete this text, and now when you start typing, you can see this is the next text. Now the text is not going out of the screen because we have set the left align text. Of course, if you need to align it to center, you can use this. So what happening is you can see this is what we call the anchor point. So that's an important point. So when you align text, anchor point goes to the left side like this. You can see it moved here, and now it is center. And if you align the text to right, the anchor point goes to this right side. So that's the basic idea. So depending on your requirement, you have to use the which is the center alignment or the right alignment, stuff like that. But don't worry, I'm going to do a separate video for the paragraph panel. For now, just remember this. So the next thing is we just type the text, but now it is pretty small and it is red. Now we need to change the things based on our requirements. So in order to change that, we use this character panel. So first thing is I'm going to for the font size. So in After Effects, we don't use points like you use in Word, because point is a relative value, but pixels is a permanent value, right? So it is not relative, it is an absolute value, right? So the currently font size is set to 36 pixel. Now I'm going to increase this to 100. So I type 100, or you can use this drop down menu to select the font size, but it contains max 72. It is a good idea to type the font size. You will get used to the correct font size when you're working with this, when you get experience with this title designing process. So this is the first button, the font size. Now we did it right. So now I'm going to this one, the font family. You can click on this drop down menu, and you can go through the fonts, and you can select the font you need, or you can click here and you can use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard to switch between the fonts. Or the easiest method is once you know the font, you can start typing, right? So you can see so if you know, so we want to get the Helvetica font. and you can select some other variation. So I select this and I press enter. Now we change the font family. So the next thing is some fonts have some different font styles, like regular font and the italic font, bold font. For example, this Helvetica font family contains a lot of font style. So in order to change the font style, you can select this drop down menu and you can select medium or bold or any kind of stuff like this, right? So you can see also you can use the arrow key to switch between each style. So I am using the arrow key on my keyboard to switch between font style. So experiment these things. Every single font does not have font style. Based on your font, you can see if it contain any font style like this. So different font styles. So right, so that's how you change the font styles and font family. So the next one is the you can see this eyedropper. So that is we use that to select the color for the fill color of the text. As it says, we can click on this box rectangle and we get this this text color dialog box, and we can select the text color, or we can type the hexadecimal value here, or we can adjust the hue, saturation and brightness value here, or we can set the RGB, which is this is if you are using any branding color code, or you can just select the color like this, or you can use this eyedropper tool to pick a color from a sample image like this, right? So you can sample the text color, which is a really good practice. So I click OK, and that's how we change the font color. So the next option is if you want to quickly change the font color to black to or white, we have option like this. If you want to change that to white very quickly, we can take this set to white option, right? So it just simply made it white. Or if you want to make it black, click on this set to black. So because our background is black, we cannot see the text, but if you turn on the transparency grid, now you can see the text font color is black. I'm going to toggle off the transparency grid and I'm set to font color to white now. Right, so that's a quick method. So next one is the text outline. So currently this text does not contain any outline, but in order to activate the outline text, we can see there is another rectangle under the fill color rectangle. So in order to activate the outline, you need to click on this rectangle. Now it will comes to up, and now you can set the stroke color, that is the text outline. It's a stroke around the text. When you click on that, it will pop up the this color selection dialog box, and you can select color and click OK. So now we have set text outline, but we cannot see, we can see a small outline, but it is not very big. But we can change the size of the outline using this option. We can see set the stroke width. Using this value, we can increase the outline, right? So like this. Now we have increased the text outline to 5 pixels. You can select a value from this drop down menu, or you can just type the value. In front of that stroke width, you can see there is an option called stroke overfill and fill over stroke. So you need to understand these things very clearly. I cannot explain it, but you have to realize it. So if you go to the fill over stroke option, you can see now the fill color is over the stroke. It's like outline stroke. So outer stroke, and when you change it to stroke over fill, you can see now the stroke became an inner stroke, right? So you have to understand those things, difference between those two things. So you can use this option for a selected part only, or you can like this. Or if you want to completely apply the this option, you can use the other option like all fill over all stroke like this, or all fill over all strokes over all fills like this. So that's how you use these 4 items like this, right? So get familiar with these things and understand how it is working. Sometimes we just need to have a text outline only. So in that case, we can turn off the no stroke color. So we can turn on the no stroke color. So when you click on this, Alright, in some cases we just need to outline only, right? So not the both. This is a really useful and pretty cool feature, so put your attention. Like sometimes we just need the text outline, we don't need any fill color. In order to do that, we can remove the fill color by using this option, no fill color. When you click on this, you can see now there is no fill color. If you turn on the transparency grid, you can see the text outline is only, right? So that's how you use this option, no fill color, right? So this is a small rectangle, right? First you need to bring this fill color box rectangle to the front. If not, it is affect to the stroke color. So we take this fill color front and we can turn on no fill color, or we can turn off that too. Or if you want to change that, you can select that big rectangle and you can select the color you need, right? So this is a pretty cool feature. Sometimes this is very useful, right? So this is a cool text. So but I'm going to undo this. You can use the Ctrl Z to undo. The next option is you can see now we talk about the font size. Here we have option like set the leading. So leading means if you have two lines in a text, like I'm type another line, this is second line, right? So leading means if you have multiple lines, the distance between top and bottom line, like this. So we can increase the leading, we can increase the distance between these two lines, or we can decrease the distance between these two lines. So based on your title design, you can adjust this value to make it much cooler. So all these values are in pixels, so you can type the number, or you can select a value from this drop down menu. Or if you want to change the standard leading in that is relevant to the selected font family, you can set to auto. So this is the default leading value for this Helvetica font, or you can manually change it as you like. So the next option, we can see the kerning between two characters, but we cannot this is like a grade, right? It is not active. That's because the kerning means when you take two letters, the distance between these two letters is the meaning of kerning. So in order to change the kerning, we need to put the text insertion point here like this. When you click on that, this is our text insertion point. Now we can see that the kerning value is activated. So you can see matrix, you can select a value from this drop down menu, or you can use this, increase this like this, or like this using your mouse. The distance between these two letters, we can increase the distance, or we can reduce the distance as you like. So that's how we change the kerning, especially if you are designing main title. Sometimes we need to adjust this kerning value. Or you can I'll teach you a keyboard shortcut. You can use the Alt left arrow to increase the right arrow to increase the kerning between two letters, or you can use Alt left arrow to decrease the kerning between two letters. That is a pretty easy method. Or if you don't like this, you can select the text like this. You can put it here, and you can like put it like this metric. So this is the default value. So if you don't happy with the change value, so that's how you change the kerning between letters. So the next option is set the tracking of the selected characters. We can for example, if you the tracking is distance between each letter, so you can select the text, or you can completely if you deselect all the text, and if you increase this tracking value, you can see the distance between each letter. We can simultaneously increase the distance between each letter. So the text is currently left aligned, but if we align the text to center, we can see the tracking to the both sides. So currently it is like this, but now when we increase the tracking, you can see it is moving like this. You can see this kind of animations in a lot of movie trailers. They animate the tracking, but we cannot animate here things like this in this character panel. We have a different technique to animate things. I'll teach those things in a separate video. So let's increase the tracking, and you can see, you can have a clear idea about what is the meaning of tracking and how to use the tracking inside this character panel. So we talk about the stroke outline and these options. The next one is vertical scale. For example, if you want to increase the scale, vertical scale, so for you to understand, I'll type something simple. So vertical scale mean, as it says, it's a vertical scale. So we can increase the vertical scales like this. So the default scale is 100%. So that is the default. You can increase the as a percentage like this. Or here you can see the horizontal scale. You can increase the horizontal scale like this as a percentage. The default value is 100 like this. So if you don't like the changed value, you can set it to default the 100, right? So that's how you change the vertical and horizontal scale. So the next option is you can see here, set the baseline shift. So if you are into typography, we call it, there is an invisible line as the baseline for this text. By increasing the baseline value, we can make it up or down from that baseline. So default baseline, let's say 0 pixels. It's like this. It's a invisible line like this, right? We call this baseline. So we can increase the baseline value to positive value, or we can increase the baseline value to negative value. So if you have multiple lines, so we can change the baseline value to increase the distance between those two lines, like we did in the in the leading value, right? So that's how you use the baseline shift. The default value is 0 like this, right? So the next option is you can see the zoom for the selected character, right? Alright, now we are going to take a look at these icons like this, right? So here we can see the fox bolt, right? So to explain these things, I'm going to type something else. First I reset the character panel and I type this is text, right? So I increase the font size to 100 like this, and now we are going to take a look at these buttons. This is the fox bold option. By pressing this, we can make the text bold. If your font has a bold style, you can select that bold style, and if you press this bold icon again, you can make it much bolder. But it is a really good idea to use the bold font style inside your font family. If that doesn't contain a bold version, you can use this option. Also, you can see this is the italic, as it says. Those are simple things. By using this, you can make all the letters capital, all caps. You can see all the text, all the characters are now capital letters. So the next option is small caps like this. You can see this is small caps, so you can easily toggle between capital and simple letters like this. You don't have to type in capital letters. So the next option is subscript and superscript. For example, if you are working on a mathematics project, we can set the subscript like this, or we can set the subscript and subscript like this, right? So that's how you use the character panel. When you click on this character panel, you can see when you right click on that, you can see some menu commands here. You can see the panel settings. You can turn on some settings using this menu. Also, you can see all caps, small caps, subscript, superscript, and those are the same things that we did using the icons. So After Effects provided various methods to do the same thing. You can use whatever easiest method for you, right? So just go through these things and just experiment these things, and by that way you will have a really good understanding about the character panel. And so there are some things that is not relevant for your workflow, that because based on your After Effects version, so you can ignore those things. The one important thing is this is a line to join option. So in order to explain that, I'm going to zoom this text like this. You can use the mouse scroll wheel to zoom the zoom out and zoom in this composition window, I'm using the mouse scroll wheel, or you can use this value too, but using the mouse scroll wheel is a pretty easy process. So I scroll that, I zoom in, and now I change the line joint to round. Take a look at the edges of these letters and you can see what is this meaning. So when you change it to bevel, you can see so how it is going to change, right? So this is how you use the character panel. I think I have explained every single important details inside this character panel. So create a new composition and start typing text and experiment the values and stuff in this character panel. By that way you will have a really good understanding about the practical experience about the character panel, and by that way you don't have to worry about anything inside the character panel. So you have a clear idea about what is inside character panel and what kind of things you can do to your text using the character panel. So I'm not teaching the recipe, I'm just wanted to teach you how to use this technique. By that way you can easily get the experience about using the tool. So when you know how to use the tool, you can easily become a great motion designer or visual effects artist like this. So practice these things. I'll be back with the next video tutorial. Thanks.